Evening all. I come down for another trip with the rods. I didn't know if I'd come anymore this year because I thought I'd be going out in the boat after herring from now, but the problem is this wind is blowing a safe easterly 20, gusting 25, and it's maybe gusting up to about excuse me, about 28 a bit later. But there ain't that much swell here at the minute. That's because we're 2 hours to the low water, and obviously on the low water that's below the sandbanks on Scrooby. If you look out to sea, there's a good old swell on the sandbanks. You won't be able to see it from here, so it might get interesting a bit later when that start to flood. It doesn't look too bad at the minute. Obviously the camera doesn't do it justice, that never do. Well, the other night I was fishing in the bay and I did have that bass hit that mackerel bloody hard, cut it up, so I thought that might be the odd bass around, and when this tide change that chop up a bit, there might be a few bass inside here. Well, today's bait, I got some squid, some mackerel and a wrapper frozen blacks, what I got from Gosson Tackle Centre yesterday. Well, the mackerel's actually, I caught the mackerel, but the squid and the blacks obviously from Gosson Tackle. Well, rig wise is the same as the other night. I got one rod with a 2-hook flapper, and the other rod is a single clip down paternoster with a pennel on the end. On the pennel I'll put squid and black lug wrap, and on the 2-hook flapper I'll put a bit of mackerel on the top hook and a sliver of squid on the bottom hook. Let's hope we get a few. They've only been out there for about 5 minutes, obviously just getting ready and getting myself settled in, you know how it is. But I didn't come today because most of the day was on the flood, and we all know we're easterly wind on the flood, the water goes sheer as well, and that's rubbish. So I thought I'd come and get the last couple of hours of the ebb. There's a bit of colour in the water. Obviously in the flood that doesn't matter if there's any colour in the water because that'll be dark. But you got to give it a go. There's a little bit of chop there, hopefully it'll start the feed a bit. Well, I'm now going to reel in the first rod, the 2-hook flapper, for the first time, see if there's anything on it. Well, there weren't no fish, but there weren't no weed either, so that's a good sign. I might start working it out a bit further. There's a little tiny bit of string weed on the rod eye. Well, initially I put both rods at 30 yards, so I obviously didn't know the weed situation till you cast out, but there's no weed on the beach. Apart from when I had a bit of northerly a few days ago and it pushed a lot of weed right high up the beach. So I just now put the 2-hook flapper about 50 yards out. I are on the side of caution here because it can be a weed fest. But we can but try, can't we? That's all we can do. Well, I'll now reel in the pennel rig and see what that's doing, if there's any weed on it, blah blah blah. Well, I just had a couple of rattles on the 2-hook flapper. Might have to reel it in and have a look. Might be nothing, but that wind's flapping around like hell and blowing the hoolie, so that might just be the wind, but I thought I saw a knock. No bait and no fish. What is going on? There was hordes of whiting the other day. Ain't nothing there now. Well, them hordes of whiting don't seem to be there at the minute. The other night I started fishing like an hour or two into the flood. But I thought today I'll get the ebb because that wouldn't be so bad, because obviously in daylight on the ebb there's plenty of colour in the water. But there doesn't seem to be much there at the minute. I'm sure it'll start getting dark, then whiting will turn up in huge numbers. I would like to see something a bit different. There was some bloke told me he caught a codlin up caught yesterday, so that's nice to see. But I would like something a bit different, whether an early little codlin or a late bass. I don't mind, I ain't fussy. Something in a whiting I'll be happy with. You deserve it fishing in these conditions. Obviously the camera doesn't seem to show up how bad it is, but I ain't very nice over here. There's a lot of wind. Well, I wound the pennel rig with squid and black lug on. Wound that in a few times and there's been nothing on it. Well, I've only had one whiting, but you thought the old squid and black lug would have drawn something in, wouldn't you? So I had that one whiting on a bit of mackerel and that's it so far. Hope that'll start picking up now as it's starting to get dark. The whiting usually come on in the dark, but I want something a little bit better than that. I want a late bass, that'd be lovely. There you go. I ain't caught a bass on the rods in a long while. Time will tell, won't it? Well, first whiting of the evening. That's saved a blank. Ain't a bad size whiting really. That's definitely a blank save, and they're nice to see, aren't they? When you ain't getting nothing, you think, oh my god, what are we doing wrong this time of year? There's normally knee deep in whiting. But I've finally got one. Put the fourth cast in, and that's the blank gone. I'm happy to see that. But I'll get him off and get him returned, all sorted. Well, the whiting have definitely started to feed. Only a little old bugger on the top hook, but the bottom whiting's a nice size one, that's well over the limit. Might be having fish cakes this week, look at that. Well, I'll get this top one back and I'll keep the bottom one. That's going to be fish cakes in a few days, I imagine. Oh, thank God for that. I don't think I was going to get hardly nothing today. But obviously they'll come on the feed as they do, as the lights start to drop. Well, the forecast was right. That wind has really lumped up. I don't know if you can see the waves very well. It ain't picking up that good on the camera. It's just getting dark, but there's quite a bit of swell there now rolling in. What do really surprise me is I ain't had a single whiting or anything on the old squid and black cocktail. know it's a lot bigger bait than what I'm putting on the 2-hook flapper. Well, I thought I'd put 2 on it. When we saw it, there's better sort of fish than it. Just giving off plenty of scent. There's a lot bigger bait, but I've had nothing on it yet. No sausage. Well, I think that was a given as soon as it got dark. The whiting come on the feed. The top one isn't that big and the bottom one's a lot better whiting, but that's skinny, so that's going back. I say with the size of it, but there's no point in keeping them skinny or whiting. I always seem to be the better hook, what seem to get the better fish. I'm putting squid on the bottom and mackerel on the top. The squid seem to be getting the better quality whiting. Only one this time. So much for getting double hookups when I got one. But you can probably hear the wind's picked up like hell, and so's the swell. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it, but there you go. There's a lot of swell there now. And that's hard to cast, but hey-oh, you got to be in it to win it. I don't think I'm fishing that far out now. I'm trying to bang it out without getting a bird's nest. So obviously that ain't going very quickly. I'm probably going to get in about 40 yards, I reckon. That's got to be 30 mile an hour gust, 30 mile an hour winds now. Obviously easterly, well east southeast. But yeah, I don't think I'm getting a huge amount of distance. I'm still getting a few whiting. I really want something a little bit bigger. You deserve something a bit better fishing in this. I'm going to get half a gale. Must be mad. Well, I finally got a whiting on the pennel. That's about time, a very big whiting. I'm surprised I got that. Half a squid and half a black lug in his mouth. Greedy little bugger. It ain't very big, so I'll get him back and cast out again. See how far I can get. That might not be far. It's a good old gale today. I'm gonna have to do something. Use the multipliers. There's always the right hand rod will always seem to flip over. The left hand rod, the reel, you can rest the handle against the tripod, but the right hand rod always flip round, and that bloody annoy me, especially when comparing the tips of bites. I'm gonna have to get the old welder and grinder out and make somewhat clamp onto the tripod to stop that from happening. Just a bit of support, just a bit of stainless with a bit of foam on it to sit behind the reel to stop that from happening, because that really do grind my gears. I know it's silly and it happens all the time, but I've had enough of it now. That really do bloody annoy me. Desperate times, eh? Well, I reeled the 2-hook flapper in, and there's 2 fish. That's a long old whiting, but it's a bit skinny. And I got a little old pouting. I ain't caught a pouting in a long while. We don't seem to get that many pouting here up a caster. It's nice to see. But I'll get them unhooked and get them back. It's lovely to see a little pouting in lovely condition. And the whiting's like a bit of a skinny old thing, really. Poor old bugger. Too many of them. There's no COD to keep the numbers down and share the feed out. That's what we need, a good cod run. Eat all them little whiting up. Well, that's definitely flooding now. It's about an hour into the tide, and the sea's already come up the beach about 20 yards plus. I wasn't going to plan to stay to about 9, but depending how that come in, if that come in too quickly and come up to my gear, I won't be packing down in this wind. I'll never get my beach body up and down very easily. That'll be a nightmare. So let's hope that slow down a bit. Well, the first 2 hours of tide that push up the beach more than the rest of it, doesn't it? Well, that's a cracker whiting on the pennel, I think that is. He's the biggest one I had the last couple of sessions. It's a good size whiting. It's the bottom of one of his eyes. But that's a cracker whiting, that is. That's got to be pushing 400 mil. Well, probably not, I think it's about 36, something like that. It's a cracker whiting. All like that, or instead of eating the pennel, look at a nice bass. That's what you want, a nice bass, something like that. I think there's all this swell, there would be some decent little food bass inside, wouldn't you? You probably can't see it on the camera, but there must be 5-6 foot of swell here now. And you see the waves starting to crest about 30 yards out. It ain't hugely deep here, but there's a good swell running on, and all the gear is going round to the right, sharpish, obviously with the tide. It really is a bit nautical, as they say. That'd be nice to get a bass, wouldn't it? You thought it might be the last one or two of the season's bass kicking around in here, but they haven't been so far. Just whiting and more whiting. Bit of a whiting fest, really. Well, I expected that, to be honest. That's what it is this time of year. Well, that's another 2 whiting. The top one's small, but the bottom one's a cracker. I'd like to get half a pail of them big ones like that. That's a stonking whiting. Compared to like size 10 wader, and then boots are oversized. That's a cracker whiting, that is. Don't mind catching big ones like that. I'll get that little one back. Well, I just wound in the panel. I thought that felt good. I was hoping and praying there's a bass on it. But there's a stonking great whiting. And a bit of old branch and some marram grass. I reckon the swells hitting the beach harlot and everything, like cutting that away. Poor old buddy there. Look at that, it's a cracking great whiting. Lovely. I'll get this untangled, but the last couple of casts have a lot of marram grass and sticks and that sort of thing, so that's definitely cutting the coast away somewhere. Well, that's another couple of whiting. The top one's a cracker. The bottom one isn't too bad, but the top will make the little one, other one look small. Well, I'm getting tons of weed now, tons of weed and crap coming through. The gear's going around in seconds with all these bits of twigs and branches and stuff. A bit of a nightmare. The waves are soon flopping like hell here. It's getting quite horrendous. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. The waves are about five metres away from my beach buddy and my tripod. And I'm on the tallest part of the beach. Below me is a well. Or a low, should I say. So that'll backfill. So I don't think I'll be here till 9. There's a lot of crap in the water. That's making it hard fishing. I was bringing the gear around in seconds. Just got loads of branches and whole bits of grass and crap was being washed out of the cliffs further north. But this might be my last cast. See how I go. I can't see the waves stopped anytime soon. That tide is really running hard. Even though the gear's getting washed around in a couple of minutes, I've still got another little whiting. Well, I'm not even get him back, it's only a small one. I've had several decent keepers, so there's no point in keeping the small ones. I'll get him back now. Well, I'm going to call it a night. I'll pack the rods away. The swells, or the water's only a couple of metres away from beach buddy. There's a horrendous swell and a gale running. Every time I cast now, I just picking up loads of crap on the line, branches and marram grass roots and stuff. So I ain't fishing, that's just knocking the gear around in a couple of minutes. Even though I did have a white on that last cast. Give another 20 minutes, that sea's gonna be past me and filling up the low behind me. Well, I don't want to be fishing in this bloody gale of wind and swell. Fishing on like a virtual island. So bugger that, I'm now packing up and going home. Alright, hope you enjoyed watching it. Shame that was another whiting festival, had nothing decent. But there you go, that's the life in it. Might have to start travelling to the Norfolk border and Suffolk. You obviously get a bit better fish up there than you do at Caister. But there you go, that's worth a go. That's only a couple of minutes down the road. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!